that passes unanimously. Next up, we have the minutes from our regularly scheduled October meeting. That was October 24th. You also got those minutes in your email. And then Cheyenne, I know that you had sent a suggested edit via email. I was going to pull that up.
I was just wondering if we needed to add that we had deferred to the city council for the sidewalk mural.
Yeah, I think that's a good note to add. So I think what we can do here, instead of trying to edit it and then come back to at the next meeting and try to approve then, I think we can just ask for a motion to approve it with the added edit that you had suggested. So would anyone like to make a motion to approve?
To approve.
With the edit that you had sent in
With
via
the edit
email?
that I sent in.
Okay. Thank you, Shannon. And a second? Was that Tom? Yep. Okay. Any further discussion about those minutes? Okay, all in?
Sorry, I'll just add it and send it out. Is that what we're looking for? Or
Yeah, just edit. You can send it back to, just resave it on where the files are and make sure Tanisha's got it. Any other discussion about that? Okay. All in favor? All right, and that one passes unanimously as well.
All right, next up is liaison report. And all I have today is talking about the Bay Balls Festival. Hopefully, if you did not attend the festival, that you have gone down the rail trail to see all the amazing work. We've gotten fantastic feedback and some post-event media attention. I believe it was today or yesterday that Art ATL posted a great story written by the gentleman who runs Atlanta Street Art Map. And that was a fantastic article. I recommend finding it. I posted it on LinkedIn today. So anyways, it was a very successful event. We got a lot of kudos. We had media attention. The attendance was great, even on Sunday, which was a miserable weather day. We had a couple volunteers, two who showed up sort of randomly, which was really cool, and said, "How can I help?" And so I put them to work, which was awesome. And then we had two high school students who came, and Brittany came and sat with me at the info booth during the artist market, which was great. And yeah, everything, I don't have anything bad to say. It was a lot of work. 4 days is a little much to run something, but thankfully we had golf carts and gators and things to kind of scoot us around, so it wasn't all on our feet. But I mean, it's just a fantastic event, and I hope you guys all go down and see the work. And then also a week later, we had everything top coated with an anti-graffiti coating. One item that has not been closed yet is the very beginning portion of what was called the community wall. Right now, it sort of looks like a graffiti wall. The idea is that we don't really love like having a graffiti style wall there. So we're in talks with the artist to maybe either come back and extend her design into that small space. It's really just a small part of the retaining wall. So either extend that design, or we may just paint it a single color, and that'll be an open wall for future or something like that. But we haven't quite taken any steps. We did not put a graffiti coating on that piece. That's the only thing we did not top coat. So that'll be easy to paint over.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Was that spot originally intended to be like a community, kids walk up and paint on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had originally thought that what was going to happen is that people were going to, well, let me take that back. Mm-hmm. The community wall originally in the proposal was intended by this same artist who did run the community wall. She was doing these big W's, and she did outline, and people came and painted in the outlines. And then she kind of cleaned it up on the last day. I think what happened was that small part of the retaining wall was never really intended to be part of the festival, because it's kind of, it's the part that sort of ends up pretty low. Awkwardly placed, yeah. And I think people in doing the community work kind of just started painting on it. And after talking to the artist, we thought that she was going to then extend the design over that. And I think there was just maybe a little bit of a miscommunication. So, yeah, we're sort of working that out now.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And it's not hideous or anything. I mean, there's some really cool parts that the community put into it. People were being intentional, and it's pretty cool, but there's also just some, text on it, like, Jay loves M and things like that, just some like kind of silly stuff.
Got it.
So yeah, we'll keep working on whatever that outcome will be.
I was gonna say, I mean, this is totally off the wall random, but like potentially painting it like with a chalk coating and let people walk in?
We had that same
Really?
idea. Jody had been to a city where they had a chalk wall like that and provided chalk.
Yeah.
And, we've, that's definitely on the table.
Got it.
Yeah. I think that's a fun idea.
Yeah, okay.
I would just like to say for posterity, it was amazing. And I cannot believe that we have so much amazing art along the rail trail that is going to last for a long time into the future, and it's ours. And I'm just really proud that we were a part of that, because it is just amazing. So kudos to you, Tanisha. I know it was a lot of work, but this organization was just incredible.
Yeah, they were fantastic to work with, and they were so appreciative of everything that we provided. In the next slide, I have a quote. They said we were the favorite city to work with. They did not expect us to show up before the sunrise and be putting out ladders and doing that stuff. They had never been treated like that. So they were all very, very happy, which was cool. It made the work worth it, Yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, I put those quotes on there, and then I just wanted to talk about the Instagram page a little bit. I'm sure most of you saw that I really kind of pushed the look of Babe Walls, and that seemed to really work with getting a lot of views and sort of, I don't want to say making it go viral, but getting it to spread. So I think that was definitely successful, and I'll continue doing it that way. And those are the views and interactions just within that, 4 weeks surrounding the event, which is great for a page that only has, I think we have like 400 followers. So to spread to 37,000 views is pretty amazing.
I mean, and it just like feeds into itself because all of your artists are sharing and posting. The organization itself is sharing and posting, and I know we were sharing and posting. And
I'm still to this day getting tagged and reposted and things. Like that article today. There was a ton of interaction with that, so it's been really good. And then we did have a survey. Just wanted to talk about that really quick. Unfortunately, I made a small mistake that I will admit to. I didn't make the survey live until Sunday. So we missed out on some crowds, which is a real bummer. But from the survey, we did have, some interesting things come out of it. Like 60% of the responders said that they'd never been on the rail trail before. So that's a very cool statistic, that we brought people to the rail trail for this who are now going to continue using the rail trail. I think that's really important. And then just some more quotes of people who were excited, and also had some comments that, I will take to heart for other events in that area.
On the note of it was a great success. success, and I was amazed when I walked through it that the undertaking was so large,
Yeah.
you know, and that everybody was functioning so well. Is it pretty well lit, you know, in the evening and dark, because winter brings on longer or shorter days and whatnot?
Yeah, I was down there in the dark a few times, and I think it could be better. I think we could have some ground lighting, which would be nice, because right now we have, just the overhead, and those lamps are pretty tall. So yeah, I think it's well lit enough for, I think, safety purposes, but for viewing the art at night, it would be nice to have some more light down there.
Yeah, I'm thinking more of safety issues with,
Yeah.
Having an attraction there might find people lingering more than not, you know. And are there cameras down there or not?
There are, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. And do you think there's any need to look into more lighting? Or do we?
Well, I would say it doesn't fall on us.
Yeah, I would say that lighting in that area is out of the purview of this organization. That's a capital expense for the city. The lighting there is designed for pedestrian safety, and it is well lit at night. It's not focused lighting for artwork, because that wasn't the original construction.
Yeah.
And since it's been up, it's been all pretty much positive responses, or?
Yeah, I personally have not seen any negative responses, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Well, there was the complaint about the yellow sculpture, that was put
Yeah,
up that
yeah.
we shouldn't have thrown our money around so frivolously,
Yeah, and hopefully too, I think we have a really good argument if there is any negative pushback if you look at it at a monetary level, we got a really, really good deal compared to the cost of square footage murals in Atlanta. We got a really, really good deal. So. All right, and for old business, we have a guest today from Moondog Growlers, and you guys will remember there's some background here. We had discussed this issue at the special called meeting, and the decision was that we were denying the application due to the possible non-use for other businesses to go into that building, and also the use of the logo elements within the mural.
You ready? Good evening. I'm Felicia Berta, and I am a 50% owner of Moondog Growlers in Dunwoody and Moondog Pub and Grub in Chamblee. And the other 50% owner is my husband, and he is at karate right now with our 5th grader. So thank you for letting me come to present. I'm going to take about probably 10 minutes max. As she already mentioned, just by way of introduction, on October 9th, this commission denied our application for the mural. The application is on the top of your package. Today, I'm actually going to ask you respectfully to reconsider that decision or to take it under advisement. And alternatively, if you decide not to do that, to reconvene at some point and discuss a modification. I want to give you a factual background first. My husband and I bought Moondog Growlers in Dunwoody from the original owners in 2017, and it's a really small space with 40 taps of craft beer and no food. You can bring your dogs in, you can bring your kids in, you can play games. We have lot parties with charitable events and music, and at one of those in 2019, the mayor of Chamblee at the time was in attendance, and he asked us, he approached my husband and said, "This is amazing, can you open something like this in Chamblee?" And my husband, who has about 10 entrepreneurial ideas a day, said, "Sure." And so he started talking to the economic development people at the city, and then COVID hit. So everything was delayed. And then I'm sure you all are familiar with finding property and the expenses. Let me also say, this is a side gig for us. It's like our fun job. He's an engineer, he has a construction company, I'm an attorney. So he kind of looked around for property, and in 2023, one of our neighbors was the broker on the property where Moondog Pub and Grub is now, at 5077 Peachtree Road. And it was just finally the perfect opportunity because we were going to be the builder. The landlord didn't have a huge amount of money to give us. We could save money by building it. We did not realize we were going to go into the restaurant industry, but with the regulations and the size of the building and everything, that's what we ended up doing. So there were a lot of delays. We did not open when we thought we would, but we did finally open on November 16th with a soft opening, and we opened to the public on November 18th. But during this process, when we realized we were going to be open finally in the fall, my husband asked me about getting a mural on the wall. So the first thing I did as an attorney was go look at the ordinances. And I didn't find anything about art. And I did not find the mural guidelines, which are under Parks and Recreation. So with my understanding that there was no guideline and my understanding of constitutional law, I got the owner's permission and I started looking for an artist. And I contacted, I don't know if anyone knows Alan Mauthner at Sproul Center for the Arts, but he's a friend of mine and we partnered together on a lot of stuff. So I contacted him to help me find an artist. He gave me 5 artists. And I looked at all of their resumes and all of their works and picked Megan Reeves Williamson, who's the one who did this, as the one I liked. I interviewed her, talked to her about her ideas and the cost. We made it clear to her that we wanted it to be Chamblee. We wanted to incorporate Chamblee history, the neighborhood, and we also made it clear we wanted to incorporate our logo. So we got her sketch, we approved it, the owner approved it, we gave her a deposit, she began work. After she completed most of it, we gave her the rest of her money, and then we got a shutdown, a stop order. She was about, 5 to 10% left to do. Like, it literally will still look like that. I mean, it's just some kind of final touches. The substance of what is there would not change with the 10% that's left. So we got a stop order. It cited a code violation that didn't really make sense to us, and I think it had the wrong address. I'm not sure, things were messed up. We finally got the right code violation, and it was not a code, but it was the mural guidelines, and that's when we learned of the mural guidelines. So my apologies. Was not intentionally ignoring mural guidelines. So I got the application ready, which you have in the top of your packet, and sent it. Did not realize it was actually Tunisia. I knew her from the past in the chalk walk. And then you all met on October 9th. I couldn't be here because I have 2 children that are much younger than they should be. Our feedback, in terms of me summing up the facts before I get into the issues, our feedback on the mural from residents who walk by and our customers has been excellent. What Now Atlanta chose, out of all the pictures we had, to put that on its article. It's become a Pokemon stop. I don't really know what that means. These things are in your package too. I don't, does anyone know what that means? But okay, she knows, if you have kids. It's a Pokemon stop, our mural. So, we've had good feedback. So Ms. Jones sent me the email that's in the package too about why it was denied. And rather than, I don't know how much you need refreshing of what happened. Do you want me to summarize what happened? I think that you all primarily had 2 issues with it, according to the guidelines. And one was that it's not sufficiently general for future use, and the other one was that it was an advertisement. We concede all that. Yes, it is purposely has all the elements of our logo. It has the dog, the moon, and it has a beer. Similar, we're in the downtown district, just like the stickers have a martini in it. And yes, that would not work for anyone that's not Moondog Pub and Grub. So we agree. Violates your guidelines. And we did not know about the guidelines when we did it. And we do have an agreement with the owner that if we vacate or, God forbid, are not successful, that we will paint it over. And he does like the mural and approve of the mural. So what I want to respectfully say to you all is that I do not believe that those guidelines in this particular fact are constitutional, and I don't think they would withhold scrutiny if challenged. When you have a private business putting a mural on a private building with the owner's permission, that's not offensive, it's not insightful, it doesn't have fight words, obscenities, it's not distracting to traffic. There's a very strict standard under the Constitution about content regulation. And the guidelines are definitely centered on content, and your all's discussion, which I did listen to, was centered on content. And to regulate content in that situation, and I am not a constitutional scholar, and I can't even believe I'm having to talk about it because I haven't had to talk about it since law school, which was like 40 years ago. But it's a very strict standard that I don't think these guidelines would withstand in court. Okay, let me say, I'm not suing anybody. Like, that's not what we're here for. We're not suing over this mural. We would just like you to think about it again. Maybe talk to the city attorney. We're not going to sue. But if the answer is it has to be something general that has nothing to do with our business, rather than invest the additional amount, we agreed to pay her more before we knew about the stop order because it was so successful. We were so happy with it. The residents were so happy with it. So I owe her more for completion, and we will paint it over. I mean, if it's not approved with at least some kind of advertisement, if you will, for our business, it's not financially viable for us to just put a painting up there that doesn't do anything for us. And I don't mean any of that judgmentally or critically. We did not know about the guidelines. And again, we're not going to sue. I'm not making threats. Like, we absolutely are not going to sue. We are a small family business, and that would not be in our budget, and it would not be in our interests. We want you to come. We want you to love it, and it has been well received. I don't know if you follow it on Facebook, but very well received in Chamblee. The food, the staff, the drinks, everything. So I've attached an article in there written by the American Bar Association, if you want to look at it, which kind of talks about some of the things I talked about. And I mean, I don't want to go into the details or a constitutional argument, and I certainly don't want to insult your guidelines. But that's our position, that, you know, if it were challenged, that wouldn't withstand. So we would like to respectfully request you reconsider, perhaps reconvene, let the city attorney look at it. I assume he already approved the guidelines, but look at it, or she, look at it in this particular instance, because it's very different if it's on public property. It's very different if it's a graffiti situation. But here you've got a private business on a private building with the owner's permission, wanting to put something up to advertise what's inside, which, you know, is a natural thing that the business owner would want to do. That's not in any way obscene or other words. So that's my request. I'm happy to take questions or just leave. Check back in later.
Does anyone have any questions or discussion, or do we want to kind of table this and reconvene?
Actually, I'm going to recommend that this be tabled until we get an opinion from the city attorneys.
That's honestly what my notes say, is just respectfully request that you all get the city attorney's input before you
we
decide.
make that motion, can we
Oh, it was fine with me. I'm not in charge.
I just want to say real quick, first of all, congratulations on opening. I'm dying to get over there. I saw your post about the Pokemon stop. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I am in agreement that we should probably table this and discuss as a group. I think it's probably something that we should be talking for in depth, because it's not only about Moondog, it's also about, you know, the future of Chamblee. So that's just my 2 cents.
And again, any discussion without the input from our attorneys about where things stand, what review this has been through previously or not, I believe is premature and is unrecommended.
are you saying that we can't have a discussion and we can't make a decision?
I am recommending we not have a discussion. I am saying that I recommend we do not make any decisions tonight without the attorney's approval, or the attorney's input, rather. because that is that puts the city in potential jeopardy.
Right. As an attorney, not yours, I don't think you all should discuss it with me here either, or without your attorney.
Well, I would like to say congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your opening, because my husband and I have been, and
you.
you enjoyed it, and the food was really delicious, so
Thank you.
Yes,
congratulations.
I agree. We were
Thank you.
there after the soft opening, and we have a 3.5-year-old, and she loved it. We love the little play area. It's an awesome, awesome addition to this city.
Thank you. Well, we, I mean, I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. They set up the play area. We had to redo the play area since it opened because we didn't realize it was all going to be toddlers. We had things like Battleship in there. And like I personally go in once a week now and replace the rugs. We have the same rugs twice. I go home and wash them, and we replace the chalk and just do all that in between the other stuff. You know, we've had a few glitches. It's new, but for the most part, the food is delicious. And Chamblee, let me tell you, and I live in Dunwoody with Jody. The Chamblee restaurant review page is amazing. Everyone is, and I'm not saying Dunwoody is not, but it's just very professional, it's very encouraging, it's very supportive. That's where we've done most of our marketing. I've met Mr. Mesa and Mr. First in there myself, and now I know that several of you have been there, so I'm not there every day, but thank you for your support. Regardless of the mural, there will be no hard feelings. I just, rather than show up with a proposal of something that has nothing to do with our business, I mean, again, I don't mean it mean, but we'll just paint it over. I can't invest more funds in it for something that doesn't do something for the business, so with all due respect. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. All right, with that said, an update on the William Massey. He and I actually spoke today. Just a quick update on all of that. I had compiled the outreach that we did at the MARTA event. Some of it was in Spanish, so I did have to have that switched over to English so that I could send it to Mr. Massey. And we came up with some kind of conclusions and questions from that survey, and thought that we should keep pushing a little bit more to get a little bit more guidance on what people wanted. So that's in my court. I'm going to do, I'm thinking that I'm going to put a survey in the Dresden Elementary newsletter. And then also we have a community member who has a lot of contacts within the Latinx communities in Chamblee, and I'm going to reach out to him and see if he can give us a little bit of guidance on that. Right now, we have installation as March. That may be pushed out a little bit more, and we'll talk about that again at the next meeting. I think next week, Jody's team has a meeting to kind of find out more about the finalization dates for the park. So that'll help guide us on when installation will be.
Before we move on, sorry,
Sure.
I had a question for clarification. So the community engagement element of this is more of the survey as opposed to any sort of in-person, deeper interaction between the artists and the community?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could do that. It's a little bit difficult because William only speaks English, as do I. The community that we'd like to do outreach into largely speaks Spanish, and although the kids are very likely bilingual, the parents often are not. And so it's, we need a little bit of help doing that community outreach, and I don't have sort of a partner in that. And so that's why I was going to reach out to the one community member to see if maybe he could help us set something like that up. So yeah, kind of just feeling that out still. And I think we have, information enough where we know where the piece is likely going, which is, Latinx themes. But he just wants a little more guidance.
There was a representative from We Love Buhai at that same event where you had the
Yeah.
earlier survey. So we could potentially reach out to her and see if that's another avenue for expanding the reach of the survey.
That's a good idea, and I think the guy that I'm talking about, I believe he also he may be part of I Love Buhai. He's very involved in Plaza Fiesta.
I can also put you in touch with Stephanie from Los Vecinos.
Okay, great.
If you don't have her info, I'll send it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so maybe I was thinking maybe of like hosting a lunch with the artist and some of these community members who can give him a little more guidance or figure out a next step.
Great.
All right, and Artsy Lane, the city council chose the flower option. So I have let Elaine know that, and her next steps will be, I believe, to refine the design, and then give us a timeline of when she's available to do the work. So we're definitely looking still at next year. It'd be nice if it was done before March so that we're still in that first quarter, but it probably depends on weather. Any questions or anything on that one?
Is the construction actually done?
Construction is done.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
What did you?
We don't need to vote to put the Moondog Growler thing, do we? Like to have it,
I don't think so, because it wasn't, she was just coming in as a speaker, yeah.
What did you just say, Tanisha? You hope it's done before March because of what?
Oh, because that would still be in the first quarter, so we
yeah.
could basically have last payment within the first quarter, which is
Yeah.
helpful, budget-wise. So fingers crossed for good weather in February or March. All right, new business. 2025 seats. We have 3 people who are either at the end of their 1-year or 2-year term. And my ask is just that, and Shan already let me know, but the other 2, if you guys could just let me know via email if you intend to apply again or not. That way I know if we need to, start pushing it back out to the public.
Did you say you did send it out, or you will? Or did you say we reach out to you? I'm sorry.
Oh, if you could just email me.
Okay, sorry.
With your intent. Yeah.
So we just need to say yes or no. If we say yes, do we need to provide a new application form or?
You, if you could just, you don't actually have to redo the whole thing. You can send the old one with any updates, like if you
Okay.
have a new job or something like that. That basically, I just send all the applications and staff recommendation to City Council. All right, and Brittany, this one's on you.
All right. Anybody who's had to juggle multiple projects hopefully will appreciate this colorful attempt at a project management, somewhat project management system. So basically knowing all of the different projects that we put in our budget and presented to City Council, and assuming that that all will be approved, I wanted to get us into a frame of mind of where we're looking at next year and how we're going to juggle all of these projects in a way so that it doesn't end up being like everything has to happen in the final quarter, because we kind of spun our wheels a lot throughout the rest of the year. So I wanted to think through what were the different things that needed to happen for each of these projects and when could those pieces be happening, so that we can basically, it's like how you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. So make it all bite-sized. So, in January, I need to work on this for this project and this for this project, so that you're we're completing some things earlier, completing some things later, but still making progress all along the way. So that was really the thought process behind this. It is pretty bare bones or high level. It's not like a lot of detail, just sort of maybe milestones for each project to get to the finish line. We sent this out via email, but I do want you guys to give me any input if you think this is helpful, or you have recommendations or suggestions for improvements or details to add. It is open. I want it to work for us and hopefully alleviate some of any heartburn for Tanisha, who has to spend her 40 hours a week executing all of these events. So, not events, but, all of these projects. So that's really the reasoning behind why I put this together. So, open to feedback.
I proposed a few months ago about a project in Keswick Park, about a screen kind of between the road and the parking area, and I wasn't really quite sure how you go about putting this onto agenda, discussing it, and moving it forward. I haven't done anything other than photograph the area and given my verbal take on what it would look like and the impact that it would have, which I'd be happy to do, is put together something more formal, and maybe have some cursory imagery as far as that is. Would that be the way to get it onto an agenda for a project to be considered?
First of all, just so you're aware, we're done with the budget discussions for 2025. So if it's a new idea, yeah, that would be great. If you wanted to put together, a little presentation at one of our meetings, we'll probably start talking about 2026 in September.
So, all of the budget is earmarked specifically for a.
Yeah, that's all this stuff we already voted on.
Okay, so I must have missed that.
Were you at the special meeting in October, on October 6th? Because that was the one where we had the budget conversation.
And finalize it.
We finalized that budget and then sent it to city council
Okay.
for approval, and in that budget was all
Well, I
of
got plenty of
these.
time.
You got plenty of time. I mean, if you want to submit it early, then if by chance something,
Well, I wasn't
like we
really
end up
sure
with
about how you
extra
get-
funds left
how you
over.
get this, other than submitting an idea and photographs and whatnot, and Tanisha responded to it and whatnot, and I guess it has to be a little bit more formalized to be in the budget.
Not necessarily, but we had multiple meetings where we discussed, we went through each idea and rated them.
Right. Yeah,
So
if you remember the other spreadsheet where it
Okay.
was just everybody put in
Yeah.
your ideas, and then we ranked the ideas and voted
Yeah,
on
no, I was
those.
part of that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's how
yeah.
we got to this. So I would say we would repeat that process for 2026, so you can definitely include the new project idea on that
On that,
2026
yep.
conversation. Any other questions, feedback, helpful, yes, no?
This is really awesome. Thank you for handling it.
Yeah, this is great, Brittany. And it's nice to see everything just calendar, and I especially appreciate the general business line, frankly. So no, I think this is great. And it also helps us prepare too, just with our personal calendars. So it's awesome. Thanks.
And Brittany, I'm just writing some like notes on mine, and I'll probably fuss with it and send it back and all that.
I mean, honestly, this, I think, is probably more for your benefit, or mostly for your benefit, Tanisha, so I would say this now belongs to you.
Okay.
And you make it work best for you, and
Okay.
obviously, as you know, more details about projects or different things.
Fill it out.
Exactly, and I know that there's lots of things that get done leading up to, like chalk walk and stuff like that. So if you want to, like, if it lives on SharePoint and we can access it, or want to take a look at it whenever we need a refresher, and then it is a working document to make your life easier.
Okay. Is it already on SharePoint?
If it's not, I can add it.
Okay. Any other discussion on this one? Okay, so this goes along with all of this timing. We need to start thinking about when exactly the performance in the park is going to take place. So I did two things. I gathered up the spring city events schedule, and also weather considerations on the next slide. I tried to also include, what is that called? Holidays on here. You know, sometimes holidays do make a big deal and you shouldn't have events on a holiday, and sometimes it doesn't really make that big of a difference. So I think we can sort of look at these and decide. So this is up for, and I really should have done it by weekend, but I didn't get that far. So March is obviously, has the least amount of events, but also maybe a little chilly. April, pretty full. We also have spring break in there, which is difficult because people are traveling. And I know Brittany was originally thinking May, so we could still keep looking at that. We just need to be careful for the end of May and also Cinco de Mayo. And so here's just some weather considerations there. So sort of just open for discussion on all this.
I did choose May initially for this, and which is, if you guys look at the project schedule in front of you, it's the top line, the blue performance in the park. That's that January through June stuff there. I did choose May because I felt like the weather was ideal at that time, and it also gives us the most amount of time to, you know, bring the project to fruition. Any earlier, I just am concerned about our ability to execute well. So that's really my main thing. We could also potentially push it to fall when the weather is more mild, but we do know fall is already kind of hectic for us with Chalk Walk being late September. And then if we have any murals that are being painted, like the Chamblee Tucker retaining wall mural or anything like that, that may be kind of a crunch time. Potentially October after Chalk Walk, but I know that fall is just as equally packed with events, you know,
It is,
in
yeah.
other cities as well. I mean, not other cities, but other events outside of.
So I'm looking at the calendar, and the weekend of May 10th and the weekend of May 17th are possibilities. Does anyone see any conflict with that? Or can they think of any?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Do you know when school's let out?
Yeah, it's on here.
5/29.
5/29,
Usually like that, yeah.
which is later than normal.
Yeah.
But it's also good to get people before they head out of town for vacations. And I feel like fall gets so busy with all the school's back, you've got all the athletic things going on, and then you've got all the fall festivals going on. And I you know, for some reason I was thinking like May Day, not to do it on May Day, but I'm just thinking about like spring and renewal, and I'm thinking about the kind of plays that we could put on that would be very, you know, just kind of a feel good for that time of year. So I do like the May timeframe.
Any thoughts on Saturday versus Sunday?
Saturday,
I'd definitely say Saturday.
yeah.
Yeah.
And what about time of day? Brittany, this is probably a you question.
Matinee times are, I mean, I guess it would depend on what the type of performance that we normally do. If it is more like youth-focused, my days at the Center for Puppetry Arts are kind of taking me back. Like 11 a.m. is a good time, 1 o'clock. General matinee times are around 2 or 3 p.m., so those would be good times. So mid-afternoon, probably ideal. We could also let the artists that we end up choosing kind of dictate that as well. They may have some input on that.
Okay, so I'll take this, what it sounds like I'm hearing is that the middle of May on a Saturday, midday, is something that I can start working with. I'll run it by other city planners to make sure that we're not stepping on any toes. And also I'll do a little bit of research to see if anyone has announced anything on that around those dates.
And if we're doing it in a park, which park might be better? Like, 'cause I think we talked about Keswick.
Keswick has an event lawn that,
Okay. So we wouldn't overlap with any like softball games or anything like that, right?
One of the things you may want to consider as well is this time of year in May, all of the elementary schools are doing field days and things like that. So I know you're talking a Saturday, but it could be something cool also during the week if you really wanted like the elementary school, like I know if you did this at Dresden, I know Dresden Elementary School, they're constantly looking for field days that are fairly cheap, and transportation is their biggest expense. But that may be an option as well, where you would draw a whole entire elementary school to this type of thing, but just something to consider.
Talking about Keswick.
Keswick event lawn is what we're looking at. Mhm.
And Keswick has so many young families that, and it's walkable too, people could just
Yeah.
walk over.
Yeah, the only problem really with Keswick is parking.
Yeah,
But people can park up at the soccer fields and walk down.
Do we need to consider Little League baseball and softball?
The event lawn is not used for sports except for people just showing up and doing like croquet or whatever people do these days.
Sorry. We don't know the exact date Dresden's going to reopen, but it is being used for soccer right now on Saturdays for games.
Oh, the event lawn is?
Yes. So until Dresden reopens and we can move soccer back, the event lawn is being used for that.
On Saturdays, you said?
Yes. We don't know. I mean, it may be Dresden will, hopefully we don't get a rainy winter and Dresden's reopened and we're back over there, but if not. So the spring season would start in February, towards the end of February, beginning of March, and it will run until about mid-May. Almost all the way up to Memorial Day when school gets out.
So the festival would be back where the soccer fields are, it would be like next to the,
It's on the event
Courts.
lawn. It's next to the tennis courts, but right now we're utilizing that as well, in addition to the soccer fields, for soccer. Because Dresden's closed, we had to move everything to Keswick. Yep.
So I guess we'll keep thinking about this.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
you have a Plan B location just
Yeah.
in case.
It could be here, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, one other thing to note, these three buildings are coming down in 2 weeks, so we will have lawn over there as well,
Okay.
besides the main lawn.
Good to know. And then if there was nothing else that you had about performance in the park, Denisha, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of the thoughts that I was having about this. My suggestion would be for us to create an RFP, a request for proposals, that outlines what all we want to accomplish with this, and then put that out there and allow artists or artist groups or theater companies to submit their proposal of what they would like to do within the budget and within the parameters of the RFP. And then we choose from those proposals, and then allow them to handle the execution and the performance from start to finish. So really all that we're having to do is to promote it, and then if there's any liaison work that needs to be done between, like, if they have questions about a riser or electrical access or whatever that might be. I just recommend that as opposed to trying to designate, we want to do this play and try to find actors and a director and all of that. If we can find a group of experts who can handle it start to finish, that's my recommendation. There's a group of theater professionals to handle it. And they would tell us what show they want to do. But in the proposal, we could say, we want it to be family-friendly, or we want it to be at least, general audiences, since it is out in the public, in the park. We can even say things like, if we want it to, one of the things that I think would be really awesome is if they could do it, if it could be bilingual. And so either the performance itself is in English and Spanish in the same performance, or they can do an English performance and then say we have another performance later in the afternoon that is all Spanish. I think given the demographics of our community, that would be a really big hit. And So I think that could be really cool, and maybe we can spread the RFP far and wide, especially if we reach out to our state and regional art council organizations, Georgia Council for the Arts and South Arts, which is the regional group, and they have artists, and they can help spread that proposal out there. So there may be groups from like Miami or wherever that could submit a proposal and then tour and come in. And then also something else, and I have mentioned this a couple times before, I want to reach out to South Arts about their Express grant. It's an extra, like $3,000 is not a ton, but it's an extra bit of money that we could use to pad the budget. And that, if we go that route, the artists that we work with would have to come from the 9-state southeast region that South Arts covers. So there would be a little bit of some parameters there about who we would need to choose, when we do the RFP, if we are able to secure a South Arts grant. If we don't, then really sky's the limit. We could choose, an artist could come from New York or wherever. So there's just some thoughts that I had in my head.
We could tap it in from the Atlanta, with the size of the city, that there'd be more than.
There's a lot of art, there's a very large theater ecosystem here, so I'm sure we will get plenty of options. I was just thinking about other cities like Miami and New York, if we really want to focus in on the bilingual element, because I do know that there are Spanish theater troupes in those cities, so there could be some potential interest. So that's really just kind of stream of consciousness, what I was thinking. So I had talked with Tanisha. She's going to pull some other RFPs that the city has produced and kind of use those as templates. And we can start drafting something, and then we'll, of course, share that with the rest of the group for any input. But if you guys have any other thoughts about what you would like to see, or where we would like to focus the performance, we're all ears, so feel free to share that either in this meeting or any of the other meetings that come up, or via email as well. And that's all I had regarding performance in the park.
I did see, Tanisha, that May 11th is Mother's Day. I don't know. I don't know if that.
Oh, one other thing about South Arts is that if we did get that grant, they do require a community engagement element to that. So not just the performance, but some sort of interactive. It could be a talk back after the performance, or some sort of educational webinar, seminar type something. So I thought that would be really great, regardless of whether or not we got a grant. I think having some sort of additional element besides just the performance that they conducted would be really cool. All right, I'm done. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay, so this is actually our last agenda item before public comment. I wanted to ask if everybody is okay with keeping this schedule for 2026. The city council has already approved their meetings, and I believe that these do not, that keeping this schedule does not interfere with other city meetings. So if everybody's still okay with keeping this same lineup.
To clarify, 2025?
For 2025, yes. So it'd be every fourth Thursday at 6 p.m., with the exception of November and December, which is what we had this year. And we just need to look at the calendar to figure out that if it still works to do what we did this year, which was no November meeting and an early December meeting.
And just FYI, under the general business line on this project plan below, those meeting dates that I listed are based on the same schedule that we had this year. So If that works, and we do the same thing with November and December, then the dates that are on this plan line
Oh,
up with
perfect, so
that.
12/4,
Yeah, I think that is that same, it's basically this same Thursday, but next year.
that's perfect. So I don't think we necessarily need to put this in stone right now. If everybody kind of wants to look at their calendars and make sure that every one of these dates works, we can approve it officially at the January meeting, as long as everybody's okay with that January date, which is 1/23.
I know this was like the very first slide you basically shared, but are we losing anyone for sure? Like, someone that can't
No one
run-
is at the end of their total
Nice.
terms. So the lineup could stay exactly the same, yeah.
Are there any concerns about the calendar? Do we want to wait and approve in January, or how do folks feel about approving now? It's up to you. Good?
Same.
Good. All right, let's go ahead and, you want to go ahead and do that? So I will take any motion to approve the 2025 meeting schedule as outlined under the little purple section on the document in front of you.
Motion to approve the meeting schedule as written in front of you.
Okay, and a second? Okay, any further discussion? All right, all in favor? Okay, it passes. Okay, so we're at the end of our agenda, and we are at the public comment section of tonight's meeting. Would anyone like to say anything? You don't have to, but if you want to, we're all ears. And just a reminder, so it is more like a monologue situation, whatever you would like to say to us, but it's not necessarily a back and forth discussion, right? Elmer, that's sort of the gist.
Awesome. Well, thank you for clarifying. Hello, everyone. My name is Leah Hernandez. This is my husband, Ola, and our daughter, Snow. We've been residents of Chamblee for 2 years, and I was looking through the bulletin, and I saw this meeting, and we both work within the arts, so we said, why not show up? So, yeah, happy to be here. Love to learn more about all of the planning that you guys have, and really excited to stay connected and to stay engaged. So, thank you.
Welcome to Chamblee.
Hi. 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 And say thank you.
Thank you.
And my name is Snow.
Hello.
Yes.
With that, I think we're ready to adjourn, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, second? All right, Shan, thank you. All in favor? Yes, all right. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Happy holiday.
I'm Jody.
Jody,
Yeah, I'm
Leah.
Leah, I'm the Parks and Rec director, so,